guys, welcome to SFeatley F1, and we're back with another preview, and it's the preview for the what is it? The preview for the um so it's the preview for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. What am I on about? The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at Jeddah circuit. And there's been a bit of controversy with it actually in the build up to this this weekend. So about whether it should go ahead, and it's nothing to do with, I think, the human rights issues. So let me just get it up. Because the drivers this morning have had a meeting about whether to go ahead with the Grand Prix. So yeah. Wow. Oh wow. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. This is big news in the build up to this weekend. Very troubling situation in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Right. So Saudi Arabian Grand Prix to continue as planned after an attack at the oil depot near the Jeddah circuit. We have received total assurance of the country's safety first, says the F1 president Stefano Domenicali, obviously former team principal of Ferrari during 2008 to 2013, I believe. The FIA's Mohammed Ben Sulayem, who's now obviously the president of the FIA, says attackers not targeting the track. Drivers held talks for more than 4 hours on Friday evening. Formula One Saudi Grand Prix was set to go ahead despite the concerns from drivers in a lengthy meeting about an oil depot close to the circuit being under attack. F1's grid of 20 drivers met for 4 hours after practice on Friday, and talks, which included team bosses and F1 chiefs, continued until 2:30 a.m. local time, Saudi Arabia. Understands so I'm not gonna play it.
Let's just start with that. That's the reason we've not been hearing any interviews from the drivers who've been deep in conversation with their... Following Caue, we were getting it heard from news sources, various news sources, that it may have been an attack. The drivers...
Wow, that is big news. That's worrying. I want to ask, put it in a poll. I'm going to put it in a poll right now. So make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe. Please do share the channel as well. We're 84 subs. It's growing every day. So please, if you could possibly share it, get people to subscribe and get us up to 100 subscribers, that would be really good for us. So I'm just going to quickly go to the channel now and just quickly put it in as a poll. So yeah, what am I going to put in the poll? What am I going to put? Should the Saudi Arabian GP go ahead despite the attack near the circuit? Simple enough question, really. But I'm sure they've had massive meetings about it, massive discussions about it as well. This is the whole point of the GPDA as well, so the drivers can have their say and the influence on proceedings. So yeah, like I said, we've got big up also Tommy Talks in Tom Talks Football in the chat. I always say Tommy Talks, but Tom Talks Football, mate. So I do apologise. So yeah, F1 and F1 insist the Saudi GP is safe. It's all right insisting you're safe, but it's like, so here's right. So look, there's the plant that's under attack. Here's the circuit. Look how close that is. That's literally in the space of like 3 miles, 3 miles tops, 3 to 5 miles, something like that. If we think about it, 3 to 5 miles, that's incredibly close. 7 miles, 7 miles, I wasn't far off. 7 miles from the circuit, that's incredibly close for an attack on the Grand Prix, near Grand Prix. So no wonder the drivers are worried about it. So yeah, make sure you do vote in that poll, by the way. I want to know your opinion. I want to know your feelings on it. So let me just quickly, and I'll get out of this. Go like now. Thank you. So yeah, going to the actual Jeddah circuit itself, I believe the circuit has had some changes to what it was out on the penultimate race of the season last season in December, beginning of December, I believe. Yes, there have been major changes, and I think they needed to do that because of safety. There were a lot of blind spots. In the first Grand Prix, the drivers complained of a lot of blind spots, blind corners, where you're doing over 150 mile an hour for a corner. If you may remember, Hamilton nearly got penalised for for backing off around the corner, and then what happened was who is it? Mick Schumacher, I believe, just nearly drove into him because he came flying around that corner at full pace, 160 mile an hour, and no, it was Nikita Mazepin, and nearly pulled him out and nearly collided straight into Hamilton. So there's a lot of blind spots, and it's one of the things that all the drivers were complaining about. As much as they liked the circuit and how fast it was one of the major problems throughout. And some of the parts of the track were very, very narrow. If you look at the start of the Grand, if you look at the first restart, now I still hold, if you look at the first restart of last season, if I can bring it up, actually, Saudi Arabia GP. Right, so I don't need the adverts for this. Jesus Christ. So yeah, if we go to right now, I'm going to show you this. And I still believe it's down to this incident on the first restart. If we remember the first restart, oh no, not that. Sorry. Get rid of that. Big up, Static. I see you, man. I hope you're doing well, bro. Yeah. So Hamilton's. I don't need the captions. So yeah, Hamilton's got a better start. You can see from that angle even Hamilton's way ahead of Max Verstappen. And then if you see as they go in, Verstappen comes across, cuts across the curb, cuts across the front of Hamilton. Hamilton has to basically stop. Everyone has to stop while Verstappen rotates the car. What that does is then Ocon surrounded by Bottas, Hamilton, and the drivers behind. You've literally got 3 or 4 cars in a line. behind them because they're all now bunched up. So you go down. So they're now all bunched up. Look, you can see because they're all bunched up together because of that incident. They're all in one place, and 4 cars are in a spaced out wide aren't going to fit, which then leaves Carlos Sainz taking out Perez, right, and then Nikita, and then everyone braking to avoid Sergio Perez as other drivers are skirting around to get around him, right? And what that also does is then force Nikita Mazepin to collide straight into Russell because there's no brakes, there's no brake lights, right, on these cars. So if someone stops straight away in front of him, he's not going to know until too late, and then he collides straight into the back of Russell, right, which then forces a safety car. See, look, right, Russell's now out, and look, it's all because if you see, look, as if you look, so yeah, so you can tell because he's surrounded by everyone, because he's been bunched up. Perez goes into the wall, right? See, so Hamilton's got a much better start. Everyone has to stop while Verstappen cuts the corner and has to cut back round, right? That's for me why the reason it happened. So obviously it had to be changed. So made its first visit to December last year, and while the track won praise with a lot of drivers, we're just reading the report here from, I believe it's Autosport, is it? Autosport. Yes. Though it was praised for being thrilling with the high-speed layout, some drivers were critical of the safety standards and lack of visibility in some places. The GPDA director, George Russell, told Autosport the track was lacking a lot of safety perspective and a racing perspective, while suggestions from the FIA prompted to the organisers in Jeddah to make some tweaks for this year. It had already been confirmed that the sight lines would be opened up in a number of corners to aid visibility, as well as widening the final corner where Max crashed at the end of his Q3 lap. That's not the major issue. Hang on, the last corner was not the major problem where a lot of the incidents happen. A lot of the incidents happen were at turn 21, turns 14, turns 2 and 3. Those were see in the tight turn between 2 to 3 complex where a crash into the race led to one of 2 red flags last year. The barriers on the left of the track have been moved back, improving visibility. A similar move has been taken at turns 14, right, and that make the sight lines better for drivers coming through the kinks at the high speed. While a smooth surface has been added to some of the barriers, allowing drivers to brush up against them a bit more. Right, Vicic's notes, which is now one of the new race directors, notes also confirmed the track had been widened to 12 meters at the final corner, up from 10.5 meters last year. So let me try and see Leclerc on board 2022 Saudi. Right, so that's not it. That's not it. Let's have a look. No, that's not it either. That's I'm trying to find it. So that's a short of Saudi Arabia. You can't really see a lot in that one. Yeah, I can see where they've improved it a little bit, but obviously I need to watch an actual session to sort of capture it. I can't find anything yet. It's always away. It's not until you actually see it. No, can't see it. I can't see it for now. Oh well, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it would have been nice to see it, but I couldn't see it. So there you go. But let me see. Let me see if I can see it on the website, the F1 website. Let me see if I can see it on the F1 website. Make sure you do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. F1 have come out with a statement. Well, it's before 2 hours and 30 minutes before the next session, which is practice 3. Let's have a look. Schedule Saudi Arabia, the circuit. Right, so if I zoom in, right. Big up everyone. Sorry, this game should not be. This race, you mean, should not be going ahead full stop. With the Saudis keeping the drivers, team principals, and everyone else there is beyond a joke. Dollar. It's all it's over. Should not be hosting the GP, mate. It's this. You could say it about human rights as well. You know what I mean? But rather than just do your attack on the oil field. So I hear your point on that, man. Honestly, we all love the sport, and it's exciting to see the teams fighting each other on track, etc. But everyone's safety must come. Exactly, mate. Exactly. I can't agree more, man. But they're insistent. It's going ahead. So there you go. There's not a lot we can do. But so yeah. So turns 2 and 3, where Perez had his accident, are here. Right. So the visibility and the track's been on the left side pushed back so you can see a bit more. I don't see how they can push back because you literally got the next part of the circuit on top of each other. What else did they say? Where else did they say? Turns 14. So turns 14 would be here. This is where the drivers build speed, and it's literally flat out. Even for this bit, right? This is where it's usually so fast. So yeah, you've got turn 14 there, which visibility needs to be improved on. But even turns 7s, 8, 9, and 10, 7, 7, 8, and 7 and 8 are needed. Like the visibility needs to be improved because that's where I think Hamilton got caught out with Nikita Mazepin last season. And 21 is this one. Well, it's not that one, it's this one, 22, 23. This is the corner that everyone's been going on about last year. So hopefully they can actually. Oh, I haven't even shown it, have I? So yeah, if I show you, so look, there it is. So that's where everyone was talking about last year, and I think that's where Mick Schumacher had his accident. Then you've got turns 14 here, when actually 15, 16 and 17 probably need more visibility because it's going to be a blind spot in 16. And that's usually flat out. It's going to be flat out 2 and 3. which has been widened, which I agree with. And yeah, and then the last corner, which is this corner, is apparently just going to be here rather than there. It's yeah, it does. I feel like they're adjusting it in wrong places, to be honest. But we'll wait and see if it helps. We'll wait and see if it helps. You can only go by what's happening, see if it helps. It's the most dangerous sport in the world, and it is criminal, mate. Just hope for a race. Just hope for a safe race for everyone, drivers, teams, and fans. Yeah, mate. Um, I, Luke, they ain't gonna rip up the contract. They ain't ripping up that contract, bro. They ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. If anyone wants to come on and express their opinion on it, you're more than welcome to, because it is a major topic to talk about. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat if you people want to talk. So I'm gonna go through the statement that the FIA and Formula One have put out. So um, and also going to go to the GPDA statement as well. I'm going to find a statement from the GPDA. Statement. Right, there we go, found it. Right, I'm going to start with the GPDA. Fucking adverts as usual. Yesterday was a difficult day for Formula One and a stressful day for us Formula One drivers. Perhaps it's hard to comprehend if you have never driven an F1 car on this fast and challenging Jeddah track. But on seeing the smoke from the incident, it was difficult to remain a fully focused race driver and erase natural human concerns. Consequently, we went into long discussions between ourselves, with our team principals, and with the most senior people who run our sport. A large variety of options was shared and debated, and having listened not only to the Formula One powers, but also to the Saudi government ministers, who explained how security measures were being elevated to the maximum, with the outcome was a resolution that we would practice and qualify today and race tomorrow. We therefore hope that the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will be remembered as a good race than for the incident that took place yesterday. So that's their statement after a long meeting. So they seem pretty happy with the FIA, because the GPDA do hold a lot of power. They do hold a lot of power now in Formula One, right? If they can quite easily just say we're not racing, they could quite easily. They won't. I know that. I would love maybe for the next. Yeah, definitely, mate. I'll send you a link next time. Don't worry. Then I'm gonna go to the statement. Quick statement done by the FIA. So the statement from the FIA, Formula One and the FIA can confirm that the following discussions with all teams and drivers to the 2022 FIA Formula One Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will be continued as scheduled. Following a widely reported incident that took place in Jeddah on Friday, there has been extensive discussion between all stakeholders, the Saudi government authorities, and security agencies who have given full and detailed assurances that the event is secure. It has been agreed with all stakeholders to maintain a clear and open dialogue throughout the event and for the future. So everyone seems to be in line that they feel safe enough to do this Grand Prix, despite the incident. So we just have to hope that nothing else happens this weekend. I don't think there will. I don't. I'll be. I hope. Obviously I hope it doesn't, but I don't think that it will affect the actual Grand Prix itself. And that's what they're evaluating, I believe. But obviously, money talks, doesn't it? Money does talk. So if they can keep it going, they'll keep it going. So obviously, looking into practice, I'm going to go to practice and look at the timing screens. Right. Results. So from practice 1, Charles Leclerc was first, Verstappen second, Valtteri Bottas third, Carlos Sainz fourth, both AlphaTauris fifth and sixth, Sergio Perez seventh, Esteban Ocon eighth, Mercedes is Hamilton in ninth, and Lance Stroll in 12th, so much better run out for Aston Martin. McLaren, much better run out in 11th and 13th, but obviously still lacking pace. George Russell down in 15th, so he must be doing just long distance runs. The Mercedes, I'm not worried about. I do feel they'll gradually grow, but they'll be able to build that car into a successful championship car. I do feel they'll be able to do that, but into a championship winning car for this season. But it's going to take some time. But start of the season, 23 races. There's a lot of racing to go, right? And especially if you've got Leclerc, who's, I'd say, still young and is still trying to learn how to. He's never been in a title situation before. Obviously, Max Verstappen now has, so he probably got that experience. But to be honest, well, if it weren't for the FIA helping him out, but it would have been a different story. But look, he probably has the advantage, would have the better experience of how to deal with a title fight. But I still feel it will go to the wire between all three. I do feel Mercedes will catch Red Bull and Ferrari up. I do feel that. If we look at practice 2, so let's get rid of that. So Leclerc again first, Max Verstappen second, the Mercedes fifth this time, and only 5/10 off the pole time. No, 4/10 off the pole time. So a bit better performance by Mercedes than they were in Bahrain. So which obviously is an improvement, and I feel that's definitely going to help give them confidence as they go forward that they can catch up. Max Verstappen second, Sergio Perez fourth, and Carlos Sainz third, so the usual lineup. So kind of probably what you expect. Lando Norris in seventh, that's a much better lap time. That's a much better performance by the McLaren. Right, because McLaren need to be up there fighting with the rest of them. They need to, right? Because that Bahrain Grand Prix, that I hope for their sake was just a one-off, because that was an absolute shocker. Aston Martin dropped down a little bit in practice 2. Maybe they were doing longer runs. Williams, man. Williams. Kevin Magnussen, probably didn't get a lot of. I don't think he got a lot of run time, did he? 13 laps. Yeah, he didn't really get a chance to do maybe a qualifying lap or anything like that because it's a night race. This session, practice 2, is the main session everyone's going to be looking to because that's the session with the right conditions for both the qualifying and race. So yeah, Kevin Magnussen, like didn't get much of a run in there, so he's missed out big time on there. Whereas Schumacher 13th, so not too bad. Alpine doing well, 8th and 11th. The AlphaTauris 10th and 12th. So yeah, there's a couple of surprises. There's been a couple of disappointments in there. I do feel for Williams, man. I was expecting him to be so much higher in this season. I was expecting him to be so much higher going into this season and actually trying to push themselves further up the grid. But obviously not. Obviously not, my friend. Obviously not. So yeah, it's painful to see that. Painful to see that because Williams is a big name now. It's still a big name. As much as we might ridicule it, it is the the, the third most successful team in Formula One, I believe. I think it's about to be overtaken by Mercedes, to be honest, if I'm not mistaken. If I look at like um, Williams Racing, um, let me have a look at racing. Let me have a look at them on Wikipedia. So they won 9 constructors championships and 7 drivers championships. Whereas Mercedes, they have 1 less constructors, I believe. Right. No, why am I putting Brackley there? I don't want Brackley there. Mercedes, let's put it this way. They've done, what have they done? 8 constructors championships and 9 drivers championships. So there we are then. So you could say actually now that Williams are the 4th most successful team in Formula One. But even then, they're still a big name and they need to be up there. Obviously, finances are restricted, but then everyone's having their budgets capped. So it should level the playing field out. Right? There can't be any excuses now. They've got to start pushing forward. But the problem is they haven't got someone like a George Russell now to lead their team. Whereas last season, you had a George Russell that was outperforming that Williams every single weekend he got in the car. He was doing that. Latifi was never getting near him. Right? Alexander Albon, he doesn't I think his confidence is still a bit shot from being dropped by Red Bull and only being their test driver. Red Bull still have got him on loan, so they apparently still rate him. Well, if you still rate him, put him in the car then. But I don't think I think for Albon's sake, he needs to try and find it in another team, find it away from Red Bull, because I think Red Bull aren't going to give him the opportunity again. He will never get that opportunity again with Red Bull. He's had his chance. So, and he's not going to be able to lead Williams forward. He's not fast enough. For me, he's not fast enough. So it's a shame. Whereas if you've got McLaren, you've got Lando and Ricardo. Once Ricardo manages to get on top of his McLaren, you've got them 2 that can lead the team. Mercedes, you've got Hamilton and Russell. Red Bull, Perez he's not great. I mean, you saw the last lap there. Yeah, he spun. I do think that's got something to do with reliability, actually. So I'll probably cut him some slack. but you could probably say some champions would have been able to get that to the end. So, but yeah, you've got Perez, who's never going to be equal to Verstappen. Right, Verstappen's the golden child, and he was the golden child before he even when he first stepped in 2016. When he first stepped in 2016, I knew for a fact they were always going to back him, even over Ricciardo, who had been in the driver academy as well. Right, it was like, okay, Ricciardo, we think you're a great driver, but sorry, we like this guy instead. That's why if you saw the 2018 Azerbaijan when they had that accident together, the blame got sort of pushed towards Ricciardo a bit more rather than Verstappen. And then ever since then since Ricciardo's left, it's always been, oh yeah, like Verstappen can't do no wrong, right? And that's the problem, I think, with Red Bull. They just focus on one driver. It's what cost them the constructors last year, because they focused on Max. They sacrificed a ninth. For example, after Max had been went out of Silverstone, and Hamilton had won the race, they sacrificed Perez to get the fastest lap, and sacrificed 2 points for the constructors just to take 1 point off Hamilton's maximum score, which didn't need to be done anyway. So it's but they were willing to sacrifice that just to get Max to win the drivers. Shows where the priorities lie. But there you go. But I want to know what you think is predictions wise. So if you looked at those 2 sessions, Leclerc again looking much stronger than everyone else. I feel he's got like 2 or 3 tens on everyone in a minute. Tell you what, if Hamilton's going to get a lap that's going to put him in the top 3, it's going to take a mega lap. One of those laps he did in Singapore sort of laps, you know what I mean? Like, sort of like the lap that Max was supposed to be doing in Saudi Arabia last year, but unfortunately he decided to deck it in the wall. Whereas Hamilton in Singapore finished his. So there you go. But hopefully Red Bull have sorted all their issues out and they're not going to start moaning about. Hopefully Verstappen will have a Grand Prix where he doesn't moan at that the car's not doing this, the car's not doing that, why ain't he done this, why ain't he done that, and blame everyone else but himself. But there you go. Anyway, I'm going to go for the top 3 in qualifying and top 3 in the race, because I've got to quickly jump off in about 5 minutes, because I've got people coming around. I've got people coming around. It's my mum's birthday, so I've got to get ready for that. Plus, also get ready for the watch along as well. We will do the watch along, despite I'm doing my mum's birthday as well, which will take an hour. So, but that's literally just an hour. Watch it, done, bye. Missing you already. So yeah, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe before we finish this. I'm gonna go for the Leclerc pole. Verstappen second. And yeah, you can call me biased, but I don't care. Like, Hamilton's going to produce a mega lap. He's going to put it on the third. He's going to put it on the second row. He's going to put it on the second row. That's what I'm going to say. He's going to put it third or fourth. With Carlos Sainz third or fourth, because Carlos Sainz, I think it was a quicker drive. Carlos Sainz is a much quicker driver than Perez, for me. Much better for me. And he's proving it, because I mean he finished ahead of Leclerc in the championship last year, which Leclerc is supposed to be the golden child for Ferrari, like Verstappen is to Red Bull. So, and like Russell is to now Mercedes. So there we are. So, and then obviously Mercedes is George Russell will be behind them in 5th, because I still feel he's showing he's got the pace. He's got the pace. He's not doing what Perez started at the start of his career, which was being at the back of the grid or struggling to get anywhere with the car or get a grip to it. But he's showing that he's getting the maximum out of the car. but obviously there's only so much you can do with that car at the minute. So, and plus he's still learning like how to cope with the pressure of being a big team, which is a lot of pressure, especially when you're racing for the current constructors champions that have won it 8 straight seasons in a row. Have not lost the constructors title in the turbo hybrid era yet, right? Which is incredible, incredible. So we'll wait and see. I think in terms of the race finish, I'm gonna go for another Hamilton podium. Like I'm gonna go for Hamilton third again. I feel he's gonna do it. I feel he's gonna do it. This it's gonna be so many swings and roundabouts in this race. If it's anything like the last race, it's gonna be an epic race. Epic race. Just no brake testing for Verstappen, please. Please. Don't brake test someone this time. Please. Just keep it clean. Um, but yeah. I feel that Leclerc, I think, will probably get the win. Um, unless Science has a great strategy call, I don't think Max will be able to keep up. But then again, he has got unbelievable pace, Max. So you never know. But yeah, I do feel it will be Leclerc might get the win on this one again. Um, Verstappen will get second, and then it's a toss up. I'd say I want to go Hamilton third and Sainz fourth, to be honest. But there you go. I think the surprise, the surprise of the weekend would be surprise of the weekend. I'm going to go with Valtteri Bottas, to be honest. I'm going to put Valtteri Bottas. He's going to get 7th in qualifying, right? And then pick up any damage that might happen up the front. I think he finished best of the rest in 7th on the Mercedes. And after the Mercedes after the Mercedes, Red Bulls and Ferraris, it's a fight between everyone else for what they want. And I think Bottas will get it. So yeah, Bottas I think will be a surprise. The flop, the disappointment would be just Williams, because they need to be doing so much better than this. They really do. They really do. So I think Williams, just as a team, will be, will struggle for me. So big up our Brett Parsons. How many red flags? Depends how many accidents there are, mate. I think if there's a couple of people that's problem is if you have an accident in Saudi Arabia, it's not a small accident, it's a big accident. Because of the narrow streets of the circuit, it's very often that they'll get red flags. So I'd say I'll go 2. I might go 2. I'll go 2. What do you think? And what do you think about the top 3 for qualifying and top 3 for the race? Let me know. And plus, do also follow on YouTube and on Facebook as well. Follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to all of them. Make sure you also share it as well on all your platforms as well. I'm going to now disappear and get out of here because I'm super busy. So, but yeah, make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, you hit the share button, and yeah, we're back at 4:45. I think that's that many that were last. I think so. So there you go. I'm being reasonable. So yeah, 4:45 we're live with qualifying. So make sure you're there, which will be fun. It's always fun. Then we've got the race tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for that. But make sure check us out on YouTube. We're on Twitter at SFeatleyF1, also on Instagram at SFeatleyF1. Or you can DM me at SFeatley, which is my personal one if you want to be on the show. Make sure you follow us on all that we're live on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. And yeah, on YouTube, we're trying to get to 100 subs. So if you can, really would appreciate it. But until then, everyone stay safe, guys. Stay well, and we will see you tomorrow. We will see you 4:45 today for qualifying. Until then, take care. Bye bye.